Welcome to the Reddit Family to Us YouTube channel, a place where genuine and inspiring family stories are shared. Here, you'll enjoy unique videos about family life, humorous moments, and meaningful lessons. Let's explore together the stories where love and connection shine through. Join us in creating beautiful memories. Please comment and let us know where you're watching from. Hit subscribe now so you won't miss the special video launching tomorrow. From Love to Ruin. The unbelievable story of my brother's betrayal and my escape. Ethan, a 32-year-old professional, has always carried the heavy burden of being overshadowed by his younger brother, Ryan, who at 28 was celebrated as the golden child in their family. From a very early age, it was clear that their parents, Robert and Susan, reserved their praise and affection almost exclusively for Ryan, leaving Ethan to face constant criticism and neglect. Every birthday, school performance, and extracurricular achievement was met with jubilant applause when it came from Ryan, while Ethan's accomplishments were dismissed with a mere nod or a half-hearted good job. This unbalanced treatment sowed deep seeds of self-doubt and insecurity in Ethan that would follow him into adulthood. Growing up, family gatherings were a painful reminder of the favoritism that had defined his childhood. In every family celebration, Ryan's successes were recounted with pride and admiration, making Ethan feel as if he were merely a supporting character in his own life story. While Ryan was gifted new opportunities and celebrated for his every triumph, Ethan was left to fend for himself, his efforts overlooked and his talents underappreciated. This persistent pattern of comparison not only eroded his self-esteem but also shaped his view of relationships and success. Despite the constant overshadowing, Ethan managed to forge his own path through sheer determination and resilience. He worked tirelessly through school and later in his professional life, earning respect and recognition from his colleagues. However, no matter how high he climbed or how many accolades he received at work, the ghost of his past favoritism lingered, a reminder of the unbalanced love he had grown up with. It took years of self-reflection and personal growth for him to realize that his worth was not defined by the biased standards of his family. Now, as he stands on the threshold of a new chapter in his life, Ethan is determined to reclaim his identity and rebuild his self-worth independent of his family's skewed expectations. His journey from feeling perpetually overlooked to embracing his true value is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Though the wounds of favoritism still sting, Ethan has learned that the first step toward healing is recognizing that he deserves genuine love and respect, regardless of the past. Amid the constant reminders of favoritism that had haunted him since childhood, Ethan finally discovered a ray of hope in Chloe, a 29-year-old woman who radiated warmth, independence, and genuine compassion. At 32, Ethan had weathered years of being overshadowed by his younger brother Ryan, a constant reminder of a family legacy steeped in bias, yet in Chloe, he saw a promise of renewal and love that was entirely his own. Their engagement wasn't just a milestone. It was a lifeline, a declaration that he deserved a future built on respect, understanding, and mutual support rather than the toxic echoes of his past. From the very first moment Ethan introduced Chloe to his family, the underlying tension became palpable. Robert and Susan, his parents, exchanged curt smiles and backhanded compliments that stung with a familiar taste of disapproval, while every family gathering seemed designed to exalt Ryan's every achievement and diminish Ethan's happiness. The relentless barrage of snide remarks and dismissive glances during holiday dinners and celebratory events only served to underscore the painful narrative Ethan had grown up with. Yet, even as his family's skepticism threatened to dampen his newfound joy, Ethan clung to the promise of his engagement like a beacon in the dark. One crisp autumn evening, in the quiet intimacy of his modest apartment, Ethan and Chloe sat together, their conversation soft and determined. Chloe, with unwavering resolve, reassured him that their love was powerful enough to overcome any obstacle, even the deep-seated prejudices of a family that had long failed him. As they talked under the gentle glow of a single lamp, she painted a picture of a future where their celebrations would be theirs alone, free from the relentless scrutiny and unyielding expectations that had once suffocated him. In that tender moment, Ethan realized that their commitment was far more than a promise of marital bliss. It was a bold, defiant step toward reclaiming his self-worth. Their engagement symbolized a new chapter, one where love, trust, and personal authenticity would define his existence, rather than the shadow of favoritism. In Chloe, Ethan found not only a partner but also the courage to dream of a life unburdened by the past, a life where his value was recognized, cherished, and celebrated on his own terms. After months of planning our future together, I never expected one phone call to shatter everything. It was a cold winter evening when Chloe reached out, her voice trembling and laden with sorrow. At first, her words seemed to herald a joyous surprise, a revelation that she was pregnant. I remember the moment vividly. The room was silent except for the steady hum of the heater, and for a brief second, I allowed myself to imagine a future filled with hope and a promise of a fresh start. But as Chloe hesitated, her tone shifted dramatically, and what came next felt like a punch to the gut. She confessed that the baby was not mine. Instead, it was the result of a long-hidden affair with Ryan, my own younger brother, whose presence in my life had always been a source of bitter comparison. In that instant, every memory of our recent happiness, the quiet evenings, the dreams we shared about our life together, turned to ash. My mind raced back to subtle hints I had ignored. The uncharacteristic late returns, the secretive glances, the barely concealed smiles Ryan gave whenever he mentioned his admiration for Chloe. None of it had prepared me for this ultimate betrayal. The very foundation of trust that I had built with Chloe crumbled before my eyes, and the realization that the man I had envisioned spending my life with had been deceiving me left me numb, disoriented, and devastated. The shock of the revelation was compounded by the painful irony of it all. I had spent years struggling under the weight of family favoritism, feeling constantly overshadowed by Ryan, who had always been the golden child in the eyes of our parents. And now, not only had he invaded the sanctity of my relationship, but he had also shattered the last remnants of trust I had in love and family. The bitter taste of betrayal was overwhelming, and every word Chloe spoke seemed to etch another scar into my already fragile heart. In that agonizing moment, the future I had so carefully planned vanished into nothingness. I was left to grapple with a torrent of emotions, rage, sorrow, disbelief, and an aching loneliness that seemed impossible to bear. That night, as I sat in the darkness, I realized that everything I once believed in had been a cruel illusion, and the path ahead would require me to rebuild not only my shattered trust but also my very sense of self. In the wake of Chloe's devastating confession, Ethan's simmering anger erupted into a confrontation that shattered the fragile remnants of trust. With his heart pounding and eyes blazing with a mix of fury and sorrow, he stormed into the living room where Chloe and Ryan were gathered, his voice echoing with years of pent-up resentment. "How could you do this?" he demanded, each word a piercing indictment of the betrayal he had long suspected but never imagined would come to pass. Chloe's tear-streaked face contorted with regret as she stammered out feeble explanations, but her words only deepened the chasm between them, while Ryan, once the cherished golden child of the family, responded with a sneering laugh and dismissive arrogance, as if the truth were nothing more than an inconvenient blemish. The atmosphere grew unbearably tense, every past grievance and unhealed wound surging forth in a torrent of accusations. Ethan's voice rose above the clamor, fueled by the bitter legacy of favoritism that had haunted him since childhood, and he recounted every slight, every moment of neglect that had led to this heartbreaking juncture. The room, once a place of tentative family unity, transformed into a battleground of raw emotion where every word was a weapon, every silence a reminder of unspoken pain. In a moment of unbearable intensity, Ryan's mocking retort ignited the final spark. Unable to contain his anguish, Ethan lunged forward, and in that split second, the confrontation transcended bitter words into physical violence. Fists flew and voices clashed in a chaotic melee that reverberated with the echoes of years of accumulated hurt. The struggle was fierce and desperate, each blow symbolizing a severing of the family ties that had long bound him to a life of inequity. As the fight subsided and a heavy silence descended over the wreckage, Ethan stood alone amid the shattered remnants of what had once been his home, a poignant tableau of betrayal, grief, and the unyielding desire to reclaim his dignity. In that charged moment, as he surveyed the damage wrought by both anger and sorrow, he understood that this explosive confrontation was not merely an outburst of rage but a decisive, irrevocable turning point, one that marked the beginning of a long, arduous journey toward healing and a future defined solely on his own terms. In the aftermath of the explosive confrontation, Ethan stood amid the wreckage of shattered trust and broken bonds, realizing that his life was no longer meant to be dictated by the toxic ties of his past. The painful collision with Ryan, coupled with the heart-wrenching betrayal by Chloe, had forced him to face a stark truth. He could no longer remain captive to a family that thrived on favoritism and deceit. With his spirit bruised yet unyielding, Ethan resolved to break free and rebuild his future on his own terms. Without hesitation, he packed a single bag, changed his phone number, and secured a restraining order against those who continued to intrude into his life. As he drove away from the home steeped in painful memories, every mile marked a decisive step toward liberation, each passing moment washing away a fraction of the bitterness that had long defined his existence. The rain-slicked roads blurred the landscapes outside, mirroring the tumult within him, yet each mile filled him with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Arriving at a modest apartment in a new city, Ethan felt a mix of relief and trepidation. The empty walls of his new home echoed with the promise of a fresh start, inviting him to craft a life unburdened by the shadows of his past. Determined to heal, he began embracing a routine centered around self-care and personal growth. He enrolled in therapy to confront the deep-seated pain that had haunted him for years, started journaling to process his tumultuous emotions, and reconnected with friends who had always offered genuine support. Every small step was a victory against the lingering darkness of betrayal. Yet, the journey was far from easy. Each night, as he lay in the quiet solitude of his new space, memories of favoritism and deceit would resurface, challenging his resolve. However, with each sunrise, Ethan found himself growing stronger, more resolute in his quest to define his own identity. In the gentle rhythm of his new life, marked by morning runs, thoughtful reflections, and the steady pulse of hope, he finally began to see a future where he was valued for his own merits, not the distorted standards of a fractured family. In that serene solitude, Ethan embraced the realization that true freedom lies not in erasing the past, but in forging a new path, one where his resilience and determination could flourish without the weight of betrayal holding him down. Thank you for following Ethan's heartbreaking journey. We would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think it's possible to rebuild yourself after such a deep betrayal? Have you ever been in a situation where forgiveness seemed impossible? Share your experiences, opinions, or any advice you have in the comments below. Your voice is powerful, and together, we can support each other through life's toughest moments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories that inspire and resonate. We can't wait to read what you think. Trong Mo Vai Yai. Thank you for watching this story unfold. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Please share your opinions and reflections in the comments below. Your feedback is incredibly valuable, and it helps us build a community where every voice matters. Let's continue this conversation together.